the call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Thank
so
you.
ecstatic kirtan and lecture by Maharaj and special talks. Yeah. So
Very
nice.
nice. Yes, I saw Mataji. Maybe you can share with the group also.
Yes,
Very
yes.
nice. Yeah. Okay, Mataji. Thank you for joining.
Uh,
Anybody else would like to announce the name before I hand over? I think our
Hare Krishna
RamGiridhari.
Mataji. Donu
Yeah.
Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada Guru Maharaj. This is Manidhar Das.
Hare Krishna Manidhar Prabhuji, Madhavat Pranam to you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. So Prabhuji, I texted you because I didn't know whether Mataji and Prabhuji are joining. So I wanted
Yes,
the
Mataji.
recording to be done.
Sure,
So you
Mataji.
are always there at the backing. Yeah. So you can start. I just finish up the greeting and then we can start the recording. Anybody
Okay.
else would want
Hare
to...
Krishna Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Nikunja Rasadas from Germantown.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madhavat Pranam to you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining again. Just likewise, I was telling Mataji, you all had a late night and still you all joined. Must have slept a couple of hours only. So please take rest during the afternoon because, it's hard to function with less hours of sleep. So still you joined. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Anybody else would like to announce their name?
Hare Krishna Mataji and all devotees here. This is Geeta.
Hare Krishna Gita Mataji, Madhavat Pranam to you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining and thank you so much for, inspiring us to hear your wonderful questions you ask, which helps us also so much in our spiritual life. So please continue that, Mataji, every day. So we can also...
Thank you, Mataji. You too ask good questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji. Geeta Mataji was there with us too. So special thank you to her also.
Oh, Geeta Mataji also joined. She was there till
Yeah.
late night? Okay.
Yeah.
Very well.
Beautiful. Very, very nice. Yeah.
Nice. So nice. Yeah, it's wonderful to be among devotees, especially when the Guru Maharaj is there. It's a total different situation altogether, It's a transcendental situation when Guru Maharajas are around us. Yeah. That's very
Thank you
nice.
to Samarasika Mataji. Really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can start the recording. So today we have His Grace RamGiridhari Prabhuji giving us the Srimad Bhagavatam discourse, and I will quickly check. And we are doing from Srimad Bhagavatam study 32 onwards, 7.3.32. And so Prabhuji, please take over. RamGiridhari Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I was just, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj is here in USA, Washington, D.C. So several devotees were there yesterday program at His Grace Gauravani Prabhuji's home. So, they all came back so late and still they joined the call. So I was just glorifying them. But please take over so we can start with our, we always look forward to your class. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please take over.
Hare Krishna, it's so wonderful that, you're all getting personal association of senior Vaishnavas and also still continuing with this service of hearing and reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so we'll start with our invocation prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 3, text number 32. Vatah param na param api anejat echak kinchit vyatikritam asti vidya kalaste tanavascha sarva hiranya garbosi brihatri prishta. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. There is nothing separate from you, whether it is better or lower, stationary or moving. The knowledge derived from the Vedic literatures like the Upanishads and from all the sublimbs of the original Vedic knowledge form your external body. You are Hiranyagarbha, the reservoir of the universe. But nonetheless, being situated as the supreme controller, you are transcendental to the material world, which consists of the three modes of material nature. Purport. The word Param means the supreme cause, and Aparam means the effect. The supreme cause is the supreme personality of God, and the effect is material nature. The living entities, both moving and non-moving, are controlled by the Vedic instructions in art and science, and therefore they are all expansions of the external energy of the Supreme Personality of God, who is the center as the Super Soul. The Brahmandas, the universes, exist during the duration of a breath of the Supreme Lord. Yasyaika nisvashita kalam atavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagadanda natha. Thus, they are also within the womb of the Supreme Personality of God, Mahavishnu. Nothing, therefore, is separate from the Supreme Lord. This is the philosophy of Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Patah param na paramapyanejat echat kinchit vyatiriktam asti vidya kalaste tanavascha sarvam hiranyagarbhosi brihatri prishta. There is nothing separate from you, whether it be better or lower, stationary or moving. The knowledge derived from the Vedic literatures like the Upanishads and from all the sublimbs of the original Vedic knowledge form your external body. You are Hiranyagarbha, the reservoir of the universe, but nonetheless, being situated as the supreme controller, you are transcendental to the material world, which consists of the three modes of material nature. These words are spoken by none other than our friend, apparently, Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu performed a very severe tapasya that we can't even imagine. And according to Brahma's words, no one has ever done and no one can ever do in the future. Now that after Brahma gave his benediction, apparently fulfilling Hiranyakashipu's desire of being immortal, Hiranyakashipu also thought for trying to be permanently immortal, but just that because Brahma couldn't offer him, he kind of did a workaround and got his desire fulfilled, Hiranyakashipu is expressing his apparent gratitude. It is very interesting to note, if you actually don't associate Hiranyakashipu into this context, if we just only take the words spoken, we will attribute these words as a genuine prayer of a sincere practitioner. Please note, it's a trivial and a very interesting subject for us to learn today. As I said, because we know who Hiranyakashipu is, because we know the background and context, when we are reading these words of Hiranyakashipu's glorifying Brahma and Hiranyakashipu's emotional outbursts, and Hiranyakashipu's words of wisdom, they sound so wonderful actually. Those of us who may not know the depth of Hiranyakashipu's heart may sometimes be even carried away thinking that actually this guy is not bad. Look at the offerings. Look at the mood. Look at the submission. Look at the knowledge. Look at the gratitude. But if you just add only one word at the end, all these things he is doing to kill Krishna. The moment we add prefix or suffix saying that Hiranyakashipu is thinking of all these powers to be acquired so that he can kill Krishna, so that he can kill Vishnu, the entire scheme of things change. So I have, as usual, three reflections in this current context. We always need to search for something that we need to learn whilst we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Hiranyakashipu, just seeing Brahma, he got so elated. When Brahma is going to grant him his boon, or when he is going to apparently got his desire fulfilled and he apparently become immortal, in the next chapter, his real face will be seen. The whole reason the demigods are glorified over demons, not that demigods don't make mistake. It's not that demigod are not having their own personal motives or desires. It is not that demigods also want to have some independent power. But the difference is they are ready to surrender to the authority of the Lord. So in terms of prayers, in terms of submission, in terms of giving all sorts of glorification, probably even demigods have done that. Demons are doing that here. But the demons are classified as demons because they do not submit themselves to the authority of the Lord. So my first reflection is that all that glitters are not gold. It is very important for us to understand the characteristics of every person, not by action, not by knowledge, not by his, name, fame, power, position. It has to be evaluated purely by his intent and attitude associated with all these things. So it's a very important thinking even for us as practitioners. Because for us, what is devotion? Wearing kantimala, wearing tilak, having shika, making sure we dress ourselves as devotees, visiting temple on a weekly basis, being known by a senior devotee in the temple, somebody, who is very, very famous, has patted on our back. So many list of things that we list. But these all things are frill elements. No, I'm not saying that they are bad. They are all frill. They are all some external things. They are all like wearing uniform and going to the school. What is the relevance of wearing uniform and going to the school? It is to bring in some sort of a mood and context. But the actual purpose of going to the school is to study. But then these all elements support in the studies. Similarly, whatever we listed in terms of prayers and, external symbols, they're all very good only when our attitude and our intent is for transforming our consciousness and eventually becoming a sincere servant of the Supreme Lord. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about austerity in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So he says everything, whether the words that you speak, the work that you do, everything is separately classified. Sometimes people undergo severe austerities. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, shloka number 5 and 6. Ashastra vihitam ghoram tapyante ye tapato jana dhambankhara samyukta kamaraga balanvita karshayantah sharirastam bhutagramam acetasha mam chaivantah sharirastam tanviddi asura nischayan. Those who undergo severe austerities and penances, not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish, and who torture the material elements of the body as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. Krishna is saying this in 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, shloka number 5 and 6. So now you know how Hiranyakashipu is called demon. As I said, if we just read things without understanding the context, we might feel a little elated. Oh my God, this guy is so humble. This guy is philosopher. This guy is speaking something which is, seemingly very cultured. I was told that many people in Sri Lanka still think Ravana as a very wonderful, intelligent, successful, able leader. Yeah, he was just a little womanizer. That's a big, small problem, that's all. Otherwise, he's a good guy. That's how they, define him. Will any of us devotees name our child as Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa. Will we name them? Why? Because the moment we think of these names, the first thing that we remember is these guys were against Krishna. These guys were trying to harm Krishna. These guys were trying to disturb Krishna's projects and programs. So my first reflection is that in our devotional journey, before we subscribe anything, the reason I'm saying this very specifically is, as practicing devotees, we are attracted to so many things that are externally very well presented. We'll come to that in a bit. Vaishnava Mukodgirnam Bhutam Harikathamritam Shravanam Naiva Kartavyam Sarpa Uchishta Yatapayaha. So it is important for us to know that it is just not the milk that looks like a milk is good for us. If it is touched by the lips of the serpent, all the content that we cherish or we look up to, they all are actually becoming poison. So Hiranyakashipu's current state of mind is a very interesting one. He is glorifying Lord Brahma. He is giving accolades to Lord Brahma. He is telling how Lord Brahma is the supreme controller within this material universe. He is telling how Lord Brahma knows the past and whatever above and below. He knows things completely in and out. So he is definitely in for an agenda. We all know that. But those of us who are reading it for the first time, we doesn't know him yet. We think that, wow, it is said that Ravana had 12,000 years. He had maintained the vrata of celibacy. 12,000 celestial years means a huge time he maintained celibacy. What happened when he saw Mother Sita? Gandhari, she had absolute, chastity. She is glorified for her chastity. To an extent that she blindfolded herself not to become any time superior in front of her husband. So her height of chastity was always appreciated. But then, finally, she cursed Krishna because all those good qualities, they were all associated with some vested agenda. Kamsa, driving chariot to drop his own sister after the marriage to her in-laws' place. A Maharaja driving a chariot is not something easy. Think of your president or think of our Indian Prime Minister driving car. It'll be like a headlines, right? So such a kind of act shows, oh wow, what a humble, what a loving person. So my first reflection hence is, as a practicing devotee, we need to learn to actually classify what is Krishna consciousness, what is Krishna conscious lookalike, what is Krishna conscious support, what is Krishna consciousness as information, or what you call as Krishna conscious perspective, and finally what is not Krishna conscious. I repeat, we as a practicing devotee at every point in time should know what is Krishna conscious, Second is, what is Krishna consciousness look alike? Which looks like Krishna consciousness, but is still not. Third is, what is Krishna conscious support or frill elements, or something that which enables us, supports us Krishna consciousness, but in itself is not Krishna conscious. Like, for example, I wearing tilak. It's very good. But I wear tilak and smoke cigarette. How is it good? I wear kantimala. It's very good. Tulsi Maharani's association. But if I do some nonsense, so the idea is that those are all things, yeah, they have to see in association. It is good to begin with nicely, but then it has to be motivated towards the real core. So Krishna conscious lookalike, Krishna conscious, enabler or Krishna consciousness support system. And fourth is Krishna conscious science. So Krishna consciousness perspective. We may have devotional perspective, so we speak them but not follow them. Is it possible? Yes. And last but not least, something which is against Krishna consciousness. So we need to learn to classify them, because in Kali Yuga, we are in for several challenges because of the nature of the Kali Yuga itself. And adding to that, our own personal nature. What will be the combination of the, this combination's outcome is going to be pretty much confusing. So my first reflection is, as practicing devotees, let us all try to at least understand what is real Krishna consciousness. Even though we may not walk in that path pretty fast, pretty deep, but we may at least walk in that path. It is better to walk in the correct path slowly and firmly, rather than walking in the wrong path fast and having wrong enthusiasm. So the reason I am mentioning this reflection here is that many a times we get carried away by these external things. As I was going through these verses, the way Hiranyakashipu is glorifying Brahma is simply wonderful. So this is the first reflection. The second reflection is, again, an important warning and an important analysis. The analysis is, the whole world, especially those who are not a seasoned practicing devotee, the whole world learn things, understand things through logical reasoning, that which is grossly visible, that they are able to comprehend, and that which are beneficial to one. This is the basis of someone accepting something. I repeat, in this mortal world, barring sincere practitioners, everybody learn things through logical reasoning. If it is logical, I will accept. I cannot accept something illogical. This includes we as practicing devotees. Because of our education system, because of our association with worldly minded people, and because that is how we have been thinking. So if it is grossly visible, I mean, pratyaksha, I can see them, I can logically understand them, I can comprehend them by some way. and they are beneficial to them. These four happens to be the basis of which we will acquire things and understand things. If things are not falling in any of this category, we will simply reject them as fake or irrelevant. But interestingly, Krishna consciousness is a very subtle science. And to actually understand the science of Krishna consciousness, we need to change the way we understand spiritual science. With our material process, material methodology, material way of acquiring knowledge, understanding spiritual science is very funny. I'll give you a few examples. People looking at Krishna's Rasa Leela. People looking at Rama's punishing Mother Sita. People looking at Lord Shiva smoking ganja, or whatever, charas or whatever that is. So these all things, people say that, oh, they are doing it, so I can also do it. Because our understanding, or people's understanding is that if the Lord is doing it, so I can do it. Maybe there is a precedence for me. But that is an absolute a wrong understanding. Every field of knowledge suggests a methodology of learning. Suppose, for example, somebody needs to study the science of jewelry. Can they be learned by sitting in a remote location? I am learning jewelry on Zoom. You can learn some theory, but unless you touch and see which is gold, which is fake gold, which is what, you have to touch and feel, and there are so many chemistry, so many science underneath them. I will study about farming. I will study about medicine. I will study about avionics. So every field of science expects us to study and go through a certain type of training and acquiring knowledge and some experiential knowledge. Similarly, the science of Krishna consciousness is very specifically insisting upon us of how I am supposed to acquire knowledge, how I am supposed to recognize knowledge, how I am supposed to follow knowledge, how I am supposed to propagate knowledge. Very clear. The reason I am saying this as a reflection is, many a times, we as practicing devotees, as I mentioned in my previous reflection, we think Krishna consciousness look-alike as well as Krishna conscious enablers as Krishna conscious and fail to carry the real soul of Krishna conscious. I will give an example for this. I like a musical aspect of Krishna conscious. I like the cultural aspect of Krishna conscious. I like the cosmetic aspect of Krishna conscious. I like the intellectual aspect of Krishna conscious. But all of them are supposed to facilitate, all of them should be directed towards your actual quest for knowing the truth, actual quest for being the servant of the Lord, actual quest for being the follower of righteousness. If I am attracted to all these things for some temporary benefits, then Shramayeva hi kevalam. So my second reflection is that when we are trying to appreciate any things that are associated with Krishna consciousness and try to subscribe them, we need to know the real essence of that aspect, without which we may be still beating around the bush. The point that I want to highly clarify here is, we as practicing devotees should program ourselves, inspire ourselves, educate ourselves to actually know the science of learning the spiritual science, which is to submit oneself to a bona fide spiritual authorities, perform menial service without false prestige, satisfy them, inquire from them, and learn, and eventually preach. And this science is so bona fide, so authorized, so recommended that no materialistic agenda can derail us from Krishna consciousness. So my second reflection hence is that it is imperative that we all are supposed to be Krishna conscious, and for that we need to take some extra endeavor and not take things lightly. Karna was a very nice gentleman. Bhishma Pitamaha, who is called as Mahajana. Dronacharya, there is no one who is a better archer than him. But we still don't subscribe to them. We still tell them that they are or they were part of a dharma. So it is important for us to know, because there are people who still argue for Karna over Krishna, for Bhishma over Pandavas, for Ravana over Rama. This is the modern, Gen Z's or Zen Alpha's agenda. Not knowing the foundational understanding of spirituality, the science of spirituality, and just based on individual perspective, they present things, and we get carried away. The modern the OTT series, movies, musics, which are presented in the name of spirituality, are also not bona fide, authorized, recommended ones. So it is very important warning that let us not get trapped to certain Hiranyakashipus of the world, who is right now putting up a very good show of a sincere servant, a genuine follower, an obedient student, and a humble recipient. So this intelligence of seeing beyond, seeing through, is available with bona fide spiritual authorities. One girl came to Srila Prabhupada. She said, Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, the process of chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra that you have recommended is so wonderful. It's so wonderful that whenever I chant, I get to see a red light in front of my eyes. She expressed that with utmost reverence and utmost importance. Srila Prabhupada, as casual as he was always, he replied to that girl saying that continue chanting. That red light will also go away. So many a times we may think that these all external aspects are actual Krishna conscious, whilst the Krishna consciousness is elsewhere. So I am not against, or I am not debating or discounting the Krishna conscious enablers or Krishna conscious support systems. But let's realize that Krishna consciousness, the core essence, is in our attitude changed from Go Dasa to Go Swami. If we do not have that change, then till the change happens, we need to work towards that. This is my second reflection. The third reflection And the last one is from this current purport. Prabhupada says, because of Hiranyakashipu being a demon, he may not actually know that whatever he is asking from Brahma, whatever Brahma is eventually going to give him, is actually coming from Krishna himself, Vishnu himself, whom Hiranyakashipu wants to kill. The irony is, the benediction for being immortal is actually coming from Vishnu. And after taking that boon, he wants to go and kill Vishnu. This is called stupidity par excellence. The reason why we have to highlight this point here is, Prabhupada says, whilst the word param is used in this case, Tvatva param na param api anejat. So, he is saying there is nothing separate from you, whether it is moving, non-moving, higher or lower, whilst he is addressing to Brahma. But that's an attribute that we have to give it to Krishna, which is exactly what Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport. He says, the entire effect, the entire cause of all the causes is Ishvara, Krishna. And from that perspective, from our materialistic achievements, our materialistic desires and its eventual endeavor that we are working on, that are being fulfilled, they are coming from Krishna only. So in one place, Prabhupada writes, we can't point out anything in this world that which is not belonging to Krishna. Just that the doggish mentality of switching from one plate to another. If you give a plate full of food to a dog which is hungry, you go and try and pull that plate from the dog. The dog will attack us. But you bring in another plate, there's a very high possibility that the dog will at least try once, will leave this plate and go and sniff the other one. Our understanding of spirituality is also something like that. We hop between one thing to another till we are receiving some benefits. So to address all of those things, Prabhupada explains that the source of all the sources, the cause of all the causes, is actually the Supreme Lord, Sriman Narayana. Hiranyakashipu is calling Brahma as, Hiranyagarbha, reservoir of the universe, supreme controller. Sometimes when we address a local authority, sometimes when we address a local boss, we have, we can address with these words, we can address with this, accolades, or with this, points, where you may call them as boss, master, controller, everything. But that is into a limited context. Because we see sometimes students coming up with references from other scriptures and other places. Saying that you look at Shiva Purana, Lord Shiva is glorified as, master of all the, all that exists. Lord Brahma is glorified like that. Lord Kartikeya is glorified like that. So we don't understand. That is why, when we understand a Vedic literature, we are not supposed to understand the Vedic literature selectively. We understand the Vedic literature collectively. How can we study all of them collectively by ourselves? We cannot. So hence, we depend on some collective study, which is done by some educated people. and presented in an educated manner. So Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered as the comprehensive study, the natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta means the end of all the Vedic studies. Vedanta Sutra means the sutra written for all the Vedic literature, giving clarifications to every possible view. And this Srimad Bhagavatam by Vyasadeva is the natural commentary of those Vedanta Sutra. So, a science which is comprehensive, taking all the aspects into consideration. The scientist or the person who imparts this science, who takes all the aspects into consideration, and the methodology of this knowledge being imparted, taking all the aspects into consideration, then we should come to a conclusion. Not that we just come to a conclusion just because in some places in some Purana something has mentioned, some other places in some some Shastra is mentioned, and we keep tossing things up and down. Why we are saying all glory to Srila Prabhupada? Because he is presenting us a comprehensive view and a conclusive view and the final essence of all of them. Ete changsa kala pumsam krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam hridayanti yuge. So my third reflection hence is, as Prabhupada mentions, even though Brahma is appreciated, glorified in a manner which is of course, it's not that Brahma is not a glorifiable personality, but the person who is glorifying has got a vested agenda. So we need to know, or he needs to know, or everyone needs to know that whatever he is asking from Brahma, which Brahma is eventually going to give, is actually given by Krishna. It is actually sanctioned by Krishna. It is actually under the possession of Krishna, who in turn gives to Brahma, who in turn gives to a seeker. So from that perspective, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Anadiradi Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. Sarva Karana Karana. All the cause of all the causes is that Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in our personal spiritual life, it is something that we need to take into account, that our ultimate way of conclusive understanding should be a comprehensive study, not some temporary, selective, and biased study. So all the universes that are being created, they are all resting in the body of the Supreme Lord. Karanodaka Sai Vishnu. Yasyaika Nisvashita Kala Matavalambya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagananta Nada. Brahma is explaining Yasyaik Nisvashita Kala Matavalambya. One breathing and breathe out. Universes are coming and going. Who can comprehend this? Who can even present this science? Who can even explain this? Just because nobody can, it cannot be fake. Just because nobody can, it cannot be wrong. If you don't know, find out how to know. And what is the process of knowing? Perform menial service without false prestige unto the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Satisfy him, inquire from him, pass the test that he conducts, and eventually, learn the science of spirituality. So these are the three sets of reflections from this current context. To summarize our conversation, the first reflection is about a very important point of all that glitters are not gold. So here, Hiranyakashipu is offering some very wonderful prayers, and he's talking about some science of Krishna consciousness, which is apparently true, similar to what Kamsa spoke to Devaki after Krishna was born, because finally Devaki was released from the jail, knowing that Krishna is already born elsewhere. So he is going to send Akrura to Vrindavana. At that time, when Kamsa went into Devaki's prison, so he is giving Atma Tattva Gyan. He is pacifying. He is telling so many philosophies. And whilst he only killed all her children, but he is giving philosophy to pacify her. So this is called rascaldom. This is called demon. This is what Prabhupada is writing in the Bhagavad Gita, that how demons, austerity demons, understanding demons, every aspect is questionable. So my first reflection is all that glitters are not gold, which means each and every one of us should learn to classify what is real Krishna consciousness, what is Krishna consciousness look alike, what is Krishna consciousness enabler or enablement, and what is Krishna consciousness science, philosophy, perspective, and what is something that is not Krishna consciousness. And we should be very clearly having the understanding about these things. And second reflection that we had is about the aspect of how to acquire, how to recognize real Krishna consciousness. And the real Krishna consciousness to be recognized by the process given by the Supreme Lord, not by the way we study materialistic science. In materialistic science, we accept logical reasoning, we accept grossly visible things as real, that which we could comprehend and that which is only beneficial to them. But that's not how a spiritual science is taught or learned. So hence, it is important for us to understand how to learn the spiritual science, which is to submit ourselves to a bona fide spiritual master and learn from him in a very systematic and scientific manner by performing menial services, by performing devotional services accountable to him. And the last reflection is how it is important for us to know, how important for everyone to know that whatever Brahma is going to sanction to Hiranyakashipu, they are coming from Lord Vishnu. So it is actually weird to to know, or from Hiranyakashipu's perspective, I am asking something from someone who is actually going to get from someone else who is my actual target. So it's very weird. But unfortunately, Hiranyakashipu didn't know this. So he asked Brahma to give him a boon so that eventually he can kill Krishna. And Brahma is going to go to Krishna and get this boon and give him. So hence Prabhupada is saying, let us understand the root cause. Let us understand the cause of all causes. Let us learn to acknowledge the fact that the Supreme Lord is the controller, supreme controller, and we are always remains controlled. So from that standpoint, as a practicing devotee, we should make sure to learn to recognize, identify everything from the source and have a comprehensive understanding and not having a selective understanding. So with that note, I will stop here and take up any questions or comments or reflections from this current context. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madana Pranam to you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for, elaborating on the different aspects of, how we have to understand Krishna consciousness. Because especially when we don't read books, I think, then the reflections that you were telling in the class, will not have meaning, in the sense then we realize like what is pure bhakti and how we, it's like parampara system and how we have to rely on our spiritual masters and, things like that. And the beginning point was so nice that, in the sense that if one can do as many austerities like Ravan and all these people did, but the point is if they are, not in favor of Krishna, then everything is like futile in that sense. So one question was coming to me is like, I'm just making a comparison. Like, we hear of Putana, right? Putana was like a messenger of Kamsa. So
Yes.
she was trying to find Krishna, and then, that act happened where she was basically, she was not even having a motherly attitude. Like her whole goal was to kill Krishna. Right. And then in spite of that, Krishna gave her a position of, a mother, and we've heard that, right? Now, similarly, Kamsa is there. He's also thinking about Krishna. And, in the sense that, of course, he's against, but we don't hear that he got a position anywhere. Like he gave a position to, so one can think, is there some kind of a thing, because Kamsa, like Putana is like a, like Krishna is always trying to take the essence, the best thing which a person gets forward. But the point is that she's coming from Kamsa only, and she was given position, but Kamsa was not given in that sense. So can you reflect something on this?
Yeah,
And
so
I don't know if
basically,
it's connected to your class, but just that thought came to me that, sometimes what happens that, we dwell on certain things in our mind and it just stays there. It's like with a cloud in the mind. And then when you are reflecting on these things, then I'm thinking that, why Putna was given, why not Kamsa? Because we were speaking about the demons. So just wanted to know about this. Thank you, Prabhuji.
so 2 points. One is with respect to Kamsa, he already had a position. He is part of Jaya Vijaya team. So Kamsa was not an ordinary person. It was Kamsa who took the role of a Kamsa based on an agreement that he had with Krishna. So Jaya and Vijaya agreed to take 3 times as a demon to facilitate the pastimes of the Lord. So from that perspective, Kamsa need not have any other question, because as soon as this Kamsa agenda is over, he will go back and take up Jaya Vijaya role. That is number one. It is important to note that not anybody and everybody can go and fight with Krishna. Even to fight with Krishna, he has to handpick his own candidate. So this is number 1 point. Number 2 point is, in case of Kamsa, in case of any other demon, for them to be getting the Lord's attention. Gauranga Prabhu once mentioned that Krishna does not kill or choose to kill every demon. Krishna chooses only the selected, high 5-star demon. Remaining everyone's are taken care by Krishna's administrative channel. So it is important that we better become Krishna's devotees rather than a demon, because a demon may not necessarily have the opportunity to be killed by Krishna. So in that sense, what I was trying to say is that Kamsa, Putana, everybody, those who are killed by Krishna, they got special privilege. They got special blessings. Either they were blessed and came here and they eventually go back like, Kamsa, or they get killed by Krishna and eventually go to Krishna's abode and get some special position. So one need to Anukulyena Krishnana Siranam word is used because we have to think favorably to perform devotional service and not like these guys. These guys did get credit, but that's not a recommended process. Did I respond to your question?
Yeah, sorry, Prabhuji, I lost the screen. It goes somewhere and then I can't unmute. Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. Yeah, I didn't realize that aspect of Jaya Vijaya. That didn't come to my mind. I'm only thinking that, she came sent by Kamsa, and then, like, how come she this thing, and he, because he's also assisting, but then, in the fighting like that. So, yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the answer and all the reflections. And, and also, like, one more thing I wanted to ask is, like, you mentioned about, some devotees, like, for example, just a quick thing on, why we are wearing Tulsi Bala, why we are putting the tilak, why they have the shikha. Just quickly, if you can go over, because what happens is, all I know is, like, when we put a tilak in the morning, I heard that Srila Prabhupada lecture or somewhere else I read that, our body is like a temple. So every day in the morning you have a bath, and before you chant and do your Mangala Aarti, you just, you have to put tilak, and, it's like a temple, the body. So you purify your body with the tilak and bath and everything, and then you chant and, and even we do that before the deity seva or even cooking and other things. So that I understood. But then if, other things you can reflect on,
Well,
little bit. Yeah.
Basically all the attributes or all the symbols, whether it is Shika, Kanti, Tilak, Dhoti, Kurta, or every other things, they all are, part of our seva. They are part of, I'm an army officer. I cannot go in Dhoti Kurta. If I'm part of an army, I have a I have a attire, and that attire is meant for a specific reason, and it shows our commitment, our integrity, our cooperation, and so many other components are involved. You can give many reasons why an attire, why boots, why certain aspects of the dress is there. Those details are there, but the mota-moti, the main major point is this attire is meant to invoke a kind of a mood and spirit of a soldier. Similarly, when we are Krishna's soldiers, Krishna's Senapatis soldiers, it is important for us to acknowledge that these identifications are meant to motivate ourselves, to let others know that I am Krishna's servant. It is also to go and tell your own mind and intelligence, saying that I am committed for a cause. And if you go every aspect of it specifically, why not having a regular food? Why having offered food? There is an answer. Why we don't eat specific types of ingredients? There is an answer. But the sum and substance, the essence of all of them. That is why there are seva and seva aparads that are discussed in Nectar of Devotion. But the sum and substances of all of them is to create an ethos and to bring in our solidarity and commitment to this process of Krishna consciousness. That's a sum and substance. Individual details, like, as you said, the body is like a temple. So for sure, the temple needs to be decorated. But the temple needs to have Lord. The temple needs to have consciousness about the Lord. The temple is very nicely decorated, but nobody worships the Lord. Then the purpose is not fully fulfilled. That was my drive home point.
Yes, Prabhuji. And also, like, I think one time Srila Prabhupada mentioned that there are three things, like the outfit we are wearing, Kanti Mala and like Tilak, they're very prominent. We can be recognized as the soldiers in the army of Krishna consciousness, Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So if anybody has any question, comments, they can please go ahead and ask Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, we done all this for Prabhupada. Thank you for your nectarian class and your beautifying presence, your association. And it was such a nice class reflecting on how the demon Hiranyakashipu is glorifying Lord Brahma, almost sounding like a devotee is glorifying the Supreme Lord. So he's not short in words, and the prayers are wonderful, but it's directed to the wrong person, not so wrong person as as could possibly be, but he is definitely not the Supreme Personality Godhead that he thinks. So I wanted to get a perspective from the chapter 17, Shraddhata Bhivag Jog. The Krishna says Trividya Bhavati Shraddha. So the Shraddha, he has a Shraddha. So he demon Hiranyakashipu also has a Shraddha, but it is wrongly directed. So I just wanted to reflecting. So he's giving such nice this prayers, glorifying, yet he misses the point. So is it because of the guna? He's in the so this he's can be assumed to be in a mode of passion, definitely not mode of ignorance, because otherwise such prayers will not come out, even if it is directed to the not the exact person. He's in mode of passion though. So he in passion, chapter 17 says he's supposed to be attracted to the demons, right? But he is attracted to demigod. That means he's in Satagud?
No. See, the idea is this. The reason you can go to anybody, the point is, why are you going there? Bhasmasura got the boon from for and he eventually want to try it on Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva, yeah.
So the problem is that it is not that they just because they got the boon. It is, I give always this example. I For me to go and open a bank account, I need my ID, I need my address proof, I need somebody to, make a, kind of a recommendation to say that I am a bona fide, candidate. Whether the money that I deposit and withdraw and where do I spend the money, the bank does not generally monitor. So a terrorist can also have a bank account if they have the above three things. A regular businessman also can have a bank account. A regular Aam Aadmi can also have a bank account. Who ascertains whether how the money is being spent is a completely different department. So Brahmaji today is, pleased because he is showing the, he's like a branch manager. He's saying, oh yeah, this guy is having an ID. This guy is having a photo ID, address proof. This guy is having a recommendation. So I will open a bank account. No, some other department will come and say, hey, you seem to be transferring money to some notorious activities. Somebody else will chase it. So there is some other department. So today, just because, this guy offered a prayer does not entitle him as a good citizen. He is seemingly look like a good citizen and approaching a bank with certain identification. But technically he is a rascal, which is established by this shloka from Bhagavad Gita, 5 and 6. So that is exactly my reflection was. The first and second reflection that I was trying to say is to say that let us not conclude just because Ravana had 10 heads. One of the head is his skills about music. One of the head is his skills about Vedic mantras. One of the head is his skills about playing veena or whatever that, art. So the point is just because somebody possesses these things does not give him an entitlement to be called as a devotee unless and otherwise he is accepted by another devotee and his intentions and attitude are for devotional service. Otherwise, actions may not justify a person's character or his modes. Modes is far, secondary. First is about the intent. What is his intent? Prabhupada says a person who is materialistically motivated, but if he desires, can you imagine the position of hippies is better than Hiranyakashipu? Because hippies, they were in search for truth. They weren't seeking for some real happiness. So that is why they were connected with Paramatma. The search of Dhruva Maharaj for position, his search was true. His genuine search was true. That I want to see the Lord. So the idea is that, it is important for us to know that at the end of the day, our intent, our attitude matters the most. Having said that, I am very nicely attitude and I do not have any action. That is also not accepted. Attitude is the primary soul and the associated substance of actions and, cultivation of that attitude is definitely put together, makes it complete. That which was missing in the case of Hiranyakashipu. Am I making sense, Prabhu?
Yeah, so intent is important. So intent is there means that's what Mamcha Abhya and Bhakti Saguna. So even if somebody is in the Brigadi, he was in Tamagun. So just because he took shelter of Narada Muni, he got elevated to
Yes, sir. Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah.
Prabhupada says that if I says before Shraddha, one step before Shraddha is Icha. What desire you have? For us to desire, you don't need any qualification. You just need to have right desire. I want to drive a Ferrari. Anything is wrong? No. But for me to acquire a Ferrari, I need to acquire necessary qualification. That is later. But just today, to desire, I need to have a Ferrari. Nobody can say you're a rascal. How can you think of Ferrari? You cannot say that. So the idea is desire needs to be correct. If the desire is wrong, everything is wrong. If desire is correct, Krishna facilitates step by step and takes you to the right things. That is why we need to, the whole science of Krishna consciousness, the beauty of them. My second reflection was that only. The beauty of them is Krishna consciousness is a subtle spiritual science. It is not a gross spiritual science as we all think. The gross activities are glorious, but gross activities are only glorious when your subtle consciousness is glorious. If your subtle aspects are missing, the intent is missing, your gross activities are questioned. Make sense?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Yes. So I was also trying to relate the demon qualification with the gunas. So mostly it is understood that Tamo and Rajaguna will be demons. Sataguna are not demons. But we see that Sataguna also can be demon if he is not aligned with.
The idea is these are all momentarily swinging.
Okay. Yeah,
I may swing towards the mode of goodness for some time. It is not that for example, demons also have guru. Demons also have gurukula. Demons also have sense of culture. It is, the current modern day demons are, not classified in them. The traditional demons I'm talking about. Modern day demons are, Prabhupada says them as complete, crazy ones because they don't have any sense of culture. They don't have any sense. In Mahabharata war, every day evening, they used to dine together. It is not that because, Arjuna is my opponent, I will go and poison him and, backstab him in the war. Once the war is declared, of course, Duryodhana played, funny games earlier, but when the war was officially declared, everybody were bound by the rules of the war. After sunrise and before the sunset, that's all the war time is. Before and after time, we are all in our own camp and, doing our own stuffs. Probably, So that is something very important to be followed. So they may swing towards certain modes at some point in time. But that's like, for example, a demon will show love towards his child. Bin Laden, as a terrorist, how he would have brought up his children, wife, in-laws, and family members. He would have given so much of love. Oh, what such a loving father, such a loving uncle. How can he love someone if he is not, a good guy? Well, there is some, goodness in him, but that is a vested agenda. So they may swing towards certain characteristics, but the primary characteristics is always need to be taken because the primary agenda is to kill Krishna. Why did I go and perform this tapasya? For tens and thousands of celestial years, for me to perform tapasya to an extent that my body can be, eaten up by ants, and I can completely become, disfigured. It is not something easy. So, which means that much vengeance he was having for Lord Vishnu. So that is the primary reason why he is classified as a demon.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, if there are no other questions, maybe we can end the session.
Yes, Prabhuji. Anybody else? Last minute question, comments?
And okay, another question came a little bit connected. So these scriptures are so the scriptures are there. They clearly say Supreme Personality of God. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. In Bhagavad Gita clearly says in multiple places. So so they erudite. So a lot of people are quite erudite. But if they read the scripture, they'll clearly understand where they should repose the Shraddha. But why is it not directed? Can it be that it is also
it is only because Ati Parichay, called extra familiarity, and overconfident. I give this example every time when such question comes. My cardiologist, my father's cardiologist, he performed bypass surgery to my dad. He was doing that day, or at least on a regular day, he performed 3 or 4 surgeries every day. But between surgeries, he smoked cigarette. Not one, but more than one. He is a very well qualified doctor, knowing the impact of smoking cigarette. Whatever justification you can see, stress buster, falana, whatever you may say, how that act is justified. If you go and ask him, explain about the science of heart function, lung function, blood movement, will he not explain that? Fantastically will explain. Why explain? He cures people. But how will you justify him smoking? Because they are overconfident and over familiar to that process, or sometimes they are completely lost in that knowledge that they are forgotten about the purpose. That is why the ultimate end of Jnana Yoga is beginning of Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah.
The ultimate end of Karma Yoga is beginning of Jnana Yoga. So when the knowledge is ultimately saturated, my God, you have seen all the knowledge. That's when you start, oh my God, there is no fun in knowledge, there is fun in action. When you had sense gratification, you thought that, oh my God, nothing is making sense, let me learn about. So now Jnana Yoga. So when you get the end of Jnana Yoga, what is the beginning of end of Jnana Yoga? It's beginning of Bhakti Yoga. No, there is no fun in knowledge. There is fun in action. Make sense?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Correct.
Excuse me, Prabhuji, can you repeat, please, the end of knowledge?
The
What did you-
beginning, the end of Karma Yoga is actually the beginning of Jnana Yoga. Which means when I perform, what is Karma Yoga? I perform action for myself and offer it to the Lord. But I keep doing. Some point in time I get frustrated. Oh my God, there's no fun. So let me actually learn what is the real science of this world. So I start searching about the science of this world. Go about who am I, who is this world, what is this? So many things I study. When I study all of them and I develop jnana, and slowly, I come to an understanding. I learn the whole science, and I still not have satisfaction or the happiness that I am seeking for. Then I say, oh my God, all this knowledge, they are only useful when they are put to use. You are knowledgeable graduate, but if you cannot rescue yourself when you are in a difficult situation, what is the value of the knowledge? So the knowledge, when they put to use, they're actually beneficial. So the end of Jnana Yoga is actually the beginning of Bhakti Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga means love. Bhakti Yoga means service. Bhakti Yoga means cultivation. Bhakti Yoga means relinquishing that which is against Krishna. So these are all actually what you must have learned in knowledge. You're actually putting it to use. I have written 14 books on cooking, but I don't cook. What is the value of me being a chef? I damn cook at least some khichdi. So I cook something. You may be whomever you are in terms of your degree, but unless you cook something, so there is no fun. So that is our Acharya's claim. Bhakti Yoga is a practical science. It actually connects the soul's constitutional nature, which is to love and serve, is actually getting properly channelized. That is why Bhakti Yoga is a very important science. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. So where does Raj Yoga come then?
They're all, it's basically, it's like yoga ladder is a very interesting topic by itself. So by and large, we classify them karma, jnana, and bhakti. And within jnana, there are multiple sub-classifications. Like, Ashtanga Yoga is also there. So there are multiple nomenclature for a similar ones. But by and large, action for self, knowledge about the world, action for Krishna. That is how the three classifications. Karma Yoga is pretty much about my action, doubting to the Lord. Jnana Yoga, knowledge about the universe, understanding about the reality. Bhakti Yoga is application of knowledge and action for the pleasure of the Lord. Rest, every other yoga, every other, Prabhupada use the word Ashtanga Yoga, Prabhupada use the word Dhyana Yoga, Prabhupada use the word, so many other things. Those are all different nomenclatures for these three. But by and large, this is the three classification. Is it okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And just one to add, then in between this Ashtanga Yoga comes in between Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. So Krishna said,
The point is there are much more granularities, but I didn't want to complicate. There are. I'm not saying there are none. There are. Ashtanga Yoga is another classification of yoga, but it is actually an extension of jnana.
Yes. Shreya hi jnani, Shreya jnanam abhyasat, jnanat dhanam vishishyate. Jnanat karma phalatyaga. Yeah. But of course, that part of the karma yoga, which is the Nishkam karma yoga, you are almost close to
Bhakti. Yeah, that is okay.
Yeah.
So that is why I said the yoga ladder conversation is actually a matrix. But to make Geeta Mataji understand the overall concept, I gave a 2-dimensional answer. We can make this answer 4-dimensional, but that's okay. I guess the message was to clarify how the yoga ladder leads to Bhakti Yoga.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you mentioned about the one example of a cardiologist, right? And he is basically very good, but then he smokes. Huh? So if in our life situation, say we have a situation where we need to go very good a heart doctor, and they say this doctor is the best, but then he's not into Krishna consciousness and he's taking some kind of like cigarette or whatever. So will devotees not go to him?
That's not what I meant. I used an example to explain the aspect of how you be knowledgeable and not practice that knowledge in your life. That's why I gave an example. The example that I gave was, the cardiologist example is, you be a Bhagavad Gita Bhakti Shastri, but you don't chant Hare Krishna. How does it sound?
Yeah. No, but I'm
So
yeah,
that is the kind of comparison. But coming to your
but
answer,
Prabhuji, I'm just asking, like, would devotee, because see, like our income is coming from people who are not following, regulations. Our home income comes from people.
Whatever is to be done as transactional, we need not worry, because transaction means because you give money and get a service, there is no karma carried. In a sense, because there is you are availing a service of someone for which you are paying, and because you are done, and the purpose you are doing is for maintaining your body well and nice, so that you can perform devotional service. That is okay. Those are all transactional. Should I go in the bus? The conductor is not a devotee. Should I talk to him or not? That's not how we speak. The idea is that we have some relationship where we have heart-to-heart relationship, some relationship where we have friendly relationship, some relationship where we are teaching someone, some relationship where we have transactional, and some relationship we stay away. You classify them. Heart-to-heart is for those to your seniors and where you learn from. Friendly relationship to your equals, to whom you share your things. Then, relationship with your juniors, you teach them nicely. Transactional is all those people with whom you have to just do worldly things and stay away from envious people. That's how we should classify our relationship.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you so much. I just wanted to get clarification because, when my daughter was small, my younger one, she got seizures, and her doctor who was used to smoke, and then he used to also give her steroids, to lessen the seizures she got. So then, I was just thinking whether we went to a wrong doctor. But anyway, that time I was not. So I was thinking just that question coming to me from medical point of view. But you said that is transactional, right? And also,
Yes.
Prabhuji, you said stay away from envious people. So what if the envious person is your sister or brother? Or sometimes your spouse or your children? What do I do then? Or your
Beware.
parents? Huh?
What if they are terrorists? What will you do? We'll be careful. That's all. Be careful.
Okay. Yeah.
So be careful, because there are some places you can't avoid, run away from the family. Be careful. Have a working relationship. You
That's
cannot have an heart-to-heart relationship with everyone. But be doubly sure that your conclusion is correct. Many times we think others are envious, whilst we may have our own shortcomings. So
Yes.
the idea is that it's very important that we have to be doubly sure. And if you are sure that yes, the other person is envious and you have no problems at your end, I guess it's a very straightforward answer, that stay away from envious people.
Yeah, Prabhuji, like with me, I mean, I come to know the person is envious with the words that come out from the other person's mouth. Just when the person opens the mouth, you come to know, what state of mind the person has. So that's my only way to find out. But yes,
You should take a session for all of us. We will learn the art from you.
No, no, Prabhuji.
No,
Okay,
so
thank
the envious person brings negative vibrations. That's why we have to keep away, right, Prabhuji? Is that
Yeah,
the...
that's true, Mataji.
Envious person, fundamental formula of an envious person is, envious person means para dukkha sukhi, para sukha dukhi. He will find pleasure in others' pain and he will get pain when others are happy. What will happen when you associate with him? You will have the same problem. So better to stay away from it. That is a fundamental definition. Why we are not supposed to? If you go to an envious person, whomever he is envious, when they are happy, he will have, he'll be sorrow. When they are sorrow, he'll be happy. So that is the nature of an envious person. So his negativity, or whatever you may call that as, is going to be contagiously influencing whomever is associating with them. So better stay away from them. When he says stay away from them, as I just mentioned a few minutes before, stay away as much as you can, and make sure it is like quarantining yourself from a COVID patient. If somebody in your family is COVID, Prabhuji, what should I do? How will you can handle them COVID? Quarantine them.
Yes.
Treat them. So that's how you do. So you don't hug them just because they are a family member. Because they are contagious with COVID. So till they are treated with COVID, treat them carefully. But at the same time, because they are family, you have to support them. Call doctors, arrange for support system, and help them. But make sure that they are COVID patients. So they're contagious.
Right. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes. And also, like, sometimes you can chant when they are around, or maybe you can say some Krishna Katha, simple Krishna Katha, instead of talking other things, something will enter into the ears and make them non-envious. So there are different ways, which I adopt, but it is hard. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Every devotee gives their perspective, and that is very, very helpful in the practical life. And I really liked one point about you said that bhakti is action, and everything practically we actually live it, right from eating prasadam and everything with we've just we've adopted it in our life, and then we're just following it. That is the bhakti part, because we all love Krishna, and we want to do as much as we are alive, we want to do for Krishna. So very nice message, very nice question answers, and from answers also we get so much of input, even if sometimes the class gets very technical. There is always a benefit of question answers. Yeah. So now anybody has last minute question, comments, otherwise we can end the call.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. It was very wonderful and nectarian to hear you, as always. Yeah, only I just would like to mention that Prabhuji mentioned the example of COVID patient in the family. It was really a perfect example. Thank you, Prabhuji. Like, it gives some more knowledge whenever we hear you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, like Prabhupada ji always give examples, so this will stick with me. COVID thing, you have to quarantine. Yeah. Very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you. Yeah, so I think we can.
So quarantine is the solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your practical life.
Quarantine with love. Don't give away your love, right. Because your family
members. That's not so easy, Prabhuji. That's not so easy, because sometimes the flowers don't come out from the mouth; the weapons come out. People are, they don't speak sweetly. They have the language is very, hurting, and they keep dwindling between past and future. Past, actually,
my Siksha Guru has taught me this.
Yes.
Whenever I gone and told him this, whenever you are posted in such a situation which you think that is impossible, think of people who had gone through worse than you. Don't you think Prahlad Maharaj had a worse situation than you? Don't you think that Mandodari had a worse situation than you? Don't you think that Srila Prabhupada had a worse situation than you? Don't you think that Ramanujacharya had a worse situation than you? I guess we are put in a situation for a reason. So let us find that out. Rather than, I guess we have a difficult situation, but there is a reason why we are put in there. Yes, in spite of our chanting, in spite of our prayers, in spite of our services, in spite of all the mannat that we have asked for, if Krishna puts us in a challenging situation, there is something that Krishna wants to perform an operation on us without anesthesia. So we have to go through this. There is no choice. Rake Krishna mare Krishna rake ke. That is why a devotee is not perturbed. Rather, he learns. Rather than coming and saying that, yes, this is difficult, agreed. We sympathize, we empathize. So what is the next best option? What can I learn from the situation? How can I become sober? How can I become grave? How can I become matured? And how can I become experienced so that I can save from others? That is how Krishna wants. Maybe Krishna is trying to communicate. That is how I say. I'm saying not to say that, the pains that we all go through is anywhere less, but how as a devotee we should perceive them. That's my point.
Yes, Prabhuji, I think your last one is a very beautiful, because there is a learning. For that reason, we are in that situation, and we should definitely sometimes empathize, because we are not holier than thou for any reason, just because we are in spirituality. And
Last
so
week I was taking
has
a seminar. Last week I was taking a seminar in a temple. So we were discussing many a times we go and ask Krishna why. We are not supposed to ask Krishna why. We are
right.
supposed to ask Krishna how. Because why, Krishna will say why not, and he will give you a big list. If you go and ask Krishna, how do I understand the situation? How do I handle myself in the situation? How do I improve myself in the situation? Then he'll give you a way forward. If you go and ask Krishna, why? Krishna, why did you do this to me? Why gave you so much of dakshina, so much of service, so much of this? Then he will give you his list of why he is doing this to you, which we do not want to actually listen. So better to ask
That's
Krishna
correct.
how.
Beautiful. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
So in our prayers, I always tell my students, don't ask Krishna why. Please always ask Krishna how. How to understand this, how to serve this, how to take care of this, how to improve on this. Then Krishna will come down and say, yes, now this guy is ready to listen. When you ask why, Krishna will think that this guy is only coming to challenge me and question me. So kuch nahi hoga.
And the thing that Prabhuji you're saying to quarantine is very good, but at the same time, like I said, it's we are not holier than thou. How there is not that we are better than the other person. Like there's a reason why we are there. Absolutely, I think that's a very good one.
Yes, and also we learn more from our failures than success. So when these situations come, there is some teaching point, and like we've heard like so many times on the conference call here, that if any situation is coming, it's because of a calm your mind and say, oh, I had to go through this because in my previous life I did something, and it's coming back to me, and I just have to tolerate. And Tranadapi Surichena, Tarurupi Saishna, Amanina Mandena Kirtini Sadahari. You have to tie that around her neck and just go around, somehow in devotee associations. That really at least helps me a lot that way. So, yeah. Sorry, Mataji, you were saying something?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we'll offer our prayers while ending the call. We start with prayers, we end with prayers. It's so wonderful. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu ekach patitanam pavane vaišnavebhyo Koti Vakshabindhi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness RamGiridhari ki jai. And all the devotees who joined today on Everyday Chant. We'll see you all, I don't know, Monday now probably, because Sunday, of course, Bhagavad Gita class is there. Everybody join then. But I generally join on Monday. So, yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Have a nice Krishna conscious weekend, Mataji.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Correct.